There's already a protected crosswalk here. You have this pedestrian hybrid beacon on Slaughter Lane, but a parent I spoke with tells me oftentimes drivers are going way too fast and they're not paying attention to those signals. I'll be honest, I'll admit I called. I owed $110 in tolls, but I paid it off, so no worries there.
Wow.
There you go. An acre of land located on the east side of Rogers Lane near FM 969 in East Austin is up for rezoning.
I'm fighting rezoning in our neighborhood in particular because we're a very small street with substandard infrastructure.
A tight road with no sidewalks, walking trails, or public transit stops in need of a resurfacing. That's how city staff describe the road. So does Maria Bowen. It's for that reason and the fear of displacement, she and other neighbors are calling on city council to reconsider the zoning change.
All of that was just dense bushes and trees. And now it's all gone.
She's filed a petition against the rezoning. If the rezoning is approved, developers could build anywhere from 10 to 12 townhouses or condos on the acre. Bowen worries the road would not be able to handle the influx of cars.
There's just a lot of concerns, traffic-wise as well, and safety.
She believes the proposed changes have to do with her new neighbor just 6 miles south of her, Tesla.
We know they're coming and they're eventually all going to be here, and they need housing too. So it's like a let's hurry up and get it done and developed so that people can move here for those jobs. I just feel like slowly we're getting pushed out.
Step.
Army veteran Richard Carson's love for horses started decades ago. First when he was a kid, and then after an IED explosion forced the Army medic to retire.
I was kind of checked out and didn't really want to be here anymore, and the Army said, well, you have to do something. So I went and checked the program out and figured, well, I'm going to give it a day and say that I tried. Walk on.
Carson fell in love with the program. It would help him heal, and that wouldn't be the last time he would depend on the animals. In 2017, a car accident left him paralyzed. He assumed he could never work with the beloved horses again.
Without having the horses there, it made things real difficult for me. That was really how I dealt with a lot of my PTSD.
Soon he discovered Restoration Ranch in Bastrop. It's a place Army veteran Derek Knapp, who runs the ranch, calls a safe haven for his brothers in arms.
There's something special about horses that I believe that God gave them to help us.
For Carson, his connection with Lily,
Good girl, Lily,
a seasoned riding horse, helps him make strides toward a healthier and happier life.
it really teaches you just to be present with yourself at the moment, and then you're able to kind of use that skill later on in life to help deal with some of the things that we've seen and done in the military. It really saved my life.
Oh, I love it. The nonprofit is open to all veterans and their families. It helps around 1,000 people each year. And for the past 3 years, Carson has been a participant and a volunteer coach at the ranch. He says his goal is to get strong enough to ride on his own once again.
Oh, you're gonna like that.
Never frozen, fried to order. That's what Dave Curbo prides himself in as the founder of Catfish Parlor.
Big cat? You want it all regular, right?
All regular, yes, sir.
He opened the North Austin restaurant nearly 50 years ago, and for many of those years, people like Bruce Moore have been stopping by to get their fix of fried fish, hush puppies, and...
I love the cinnamon apples.
But it's the people who keep customers coming back. People like Tony, who has been spending the last 32 years sharing his contagious laughter with diners. There's also Sean, who's been at Catfish Parlor for
Almost 21 years.
Shelly,
18 years.
and many others have spent a decade or more at the restaurant.
Mira, compra una cerveza para todo el mundo, para todos, ¿ah?
There's a lot of memories in this place. I wish I could win the lottery out there and buy it and keep it going.
But for Curbo, it's time to find bigger fish to fry.
You haven't reconsidered yet, have you?
Reconsidered what?
On selling out.
The guy's got to retire.
I just figured that I could sell our real estate, take a long vacation.
So we have a lot of nasturtium seeds and dill.
For the last 9 months, farmer Haley Wood has been working with this group of first graders at Idea Rundberg.
This neighborhood has been historically underserved, and so we're really giving a chance for these kids to explore, learn, eat, be curious. Curly kale. Yep, this is our curly kale.
Introducing them to veggies like kale, Swiss chard, and radishes, although not always a favorite.
I like onion and radishes.
It's all done in an effort to educate students on sustainability and introduce them to healthier food options they may not have access to.
A lot of my students, they didn't know what a radish was, so we learned about what that was. They don't know what kale is. They don't know what it tastes like. So just giving them that opportunity.
One of those students trying things for the first time is first grader Stephanie Rodriguez.
Will call me myself Farmer Stephanie.
So far, the 100 kiddos in the program have grown 600 pounds. The vegetables end up in the school lunches.
If we don't plant plants, we cannot have lunch. So we need to plant them before we can have lunch.
You can eat the cilantro too. You can try some of the cilantro.
For Wood, she hopes the farm will sprout a healthier future for her students and their families.
You know, a lot of families won't be able to buy these types of veggies in the store. They may not even be at the store. And so for their kids to get exposure to it, it'll be at least a small increment of change for a family's diet.
For the last 7 years, Damian Bailey Harris has been exploring Austin neighborhoods through his route.
It's a good opportunity just to travel around, to see the city, and to meet a lot of residents.
He's one of Austin Resource Recovery senior operator specialists focused on collecting compost, yard trimmings, and more. Lately, work has been busy.
The overtime, it takes a toll sometimes.
That's because ARR is down 60 operators. That's about 15% of the workforce.
And the major reasons would have to do with the fact that pay is a concern, and also the value of drivers is higher than it's ever been before.
The director, Ken Snipes, says across the industry, they're seeing more and more truck drivers taking jobs with delivery services and logistics companies.
We live in an age now where we want to be able to pick up our phones and order something, and we expect to see it in a few short days.
That's why Snipes says they're in the process of reevaluating their pay, currently $16 an hour, in an effort to remain competitive. Right now, Texas Disposal Systems is offering an up to $8,000 sign-on bonus for new employees. This summer, the city of Houston did something similar, offering $3,000 signing bonuses. Other cities like Dallas and Denver had to delay trash pickups due to worker shortages. While in one New Jersey neighborhood, municipal workers had to pick up trash after their local trash hauler announced it had no drivers. Harris is just hoping they'll get some new recruits soon.
I know we're getting more employees to work here, to hold it down.
Surrounded by weeds, topped with rust, and enclosed by a fence, the Montopolis Negro School sits near the corner of Montopolis Drive and El Miranda Street in East Austin. The history of the school dates back to the late 1800s, but following a major flood in 1935, the original building, sitting on what is now Highway 183, was destroyed. Thanks to St. Edward's Baptist Church donating land to Travis County and a 2-room Army barrack from Camp Swift, the school had a new home and building.
It's not a museum display, it's the real deal.
Montopolis native Dr. Fred McGee is working to preserve the school's history.
I want my children to have some sense of what it was like to go to a one-room schoolhouse where one overworked, underpaid teacher using cast-off books has to teach dozens of children in one room while the children's parents are off in the fields working as sharecroppers.
Following the desegregation of schools, the Montopolis School closed and the building was transformed to operate as the Montopolis Church of Christ for a couple of years before sitting vacant until around 6 years ago when a developer had plans to demolish the historic site. McGee says the community rallied, calling on the city to take action. In 2019, the city eventually acquired the property through eminent domain.
It's become more important than it ever has been for us not just to save historic structures, but specifically historic properties and communities of color that are experiencing rates of displacement and gentrification that are really hard to wrap your head around.
Today, the city and community are ready to work together to ensure the story behind this piece of Montopolis history isn't forgotten and can be turned into
something that can not just entertain, but educate and inspire.
Last year, the city and nonprofit Austin Parks Foundation earmarked $150,000 of Austin city limits funding for the school, specifically to develop a plan. Those at the Park and Rec Department say they plan to start those efforts this upcoming spring. In the meantime, McGee and other community members seek historic landmarking for the school. Tomorrow morning's open house will start at 10. I'll have those details posted on our website at KXAN.com. Guys, back to you.
What an asset Dr. McGee is